and welcome back to another video here on the Lil'X YouTube channel. Today we have the Lenovo P11 second generation back again for more testing. I've received a couple comments about, concerning battery, concerning the cameras, both front and back, usability of the device, and more specs. For example, how does it compare to other devices in the performance quality with the chip? We will test that out today, and starting right off, some of the specs that I missed last time. We do have an octa-core processor, which I mentioned that in the previous video. We also have Wi-Fi 6E. Like I mentioned in the previous video, it's pretty good for, streaming Game Pass or other game services and just streaming services in general for multimedia. We do have a 11.5-inch 120 Hz display. The resolution for it is 2000 by 1200. It is an IPS panel, which, the viewing angles are pretty good. There's no distortion on the display as you look at it from different angles, and the brightness is 400 nits. Now, there were some concerns about the brightness. How bright does it get? Currently we have it about 50% brightness, and as you can see, if I bump it all the way up with the lights that I have here in my room, you can see some reflection, but it is still crystal clear and bright. I do have my Pixel 7 Pro here. If we test it against this display, which I do have it at 100% brightness, as you can see, it is a little bit brighter than the tablet, but it's still fully viewable in this bright room that I have here. So the display itself is pretty bright. Not the brightest. The base model iPad does reach 500 nits, but this is still a good quality display. Now, as far as storage, we have 128 gigabytes of onboard storage, which is expandable with a micro SD card all the way up here. Currently I have another 128 in this device. Now, like I mentioned, some people had questions about the camera. We do have dual cameras. We have a 13 megapixel in the back, and we have an 8 megapixel in the front, which I will show you some pictures that I took on the screen. That way I don't show you just in this video. You can actually see the quality yourself. Another question that had came up in the previous video in the comments was the battery life. Now, I was able to test some of that today as I go to the settings here and to battery life. On here, we are currently sitting at 45% state of battery. Now, earlier today, I left it playing some YouTube, as you can see there, for about 7 hours. And as you can see, it ran it down steadily, which ideally it only ran down 53% in watching YouTube for 7 hours. Now, I did have the display at around 50% brightness, and it only used up 53%, which to me is pretty good. Somebody had asked if you could actually use it, to study, watch YouTube series, whatever, and still use it for your notes. Now, obviously, if you're just doing, reading, web browsing, the battery will last longer. But also take into consideration that we are rocking a 2K display. That might be more taxing for the chip. Now, expanding in the study section, like I mentioned, it does, come with like a SketchUp and stuff like that. But there is one app on here that really caught my eye. This one right here, My Script Calculator. Now, this app is awesome, especially if you get the stylus that you could buy from the Lenovo website. Now, with this app, you could use it to write math problems. So, for example, if we do 1 plus 2 equals, it'll go ahead and solve it for us. Also, multiplication. So, if we do 12 times 6 equals, solves it for us right there. So somebody who is struggling with math, you can do this, just write it down on the tablet and it'll automatically solve it for you. Let's go ahead and get into the benchmarks. Now, for this, we will go ahead and clear out the previous apps that we have open, and I do not have another tablet to compare it with, so I do have the same apps downloaded on my Pixel 7 Pro, which is what we'll use to compare this. Now, I know this processor, like I mentioned, it is a MediaTek processor, which pretty much does not compare to what the Pixel has. We are currently rocking the second generation Tensor chip on this one, as well as 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, I'm pretty sure this is way more powerful than the tablet that we have here, but still, it could serve as a good comparison. Now, the same thing here, we're going to go ahead and clear the apps that we had open. And we're going to go ahead and start with Geekbench, which is a very popular, benchmark app. Go ahead and open it on the Pixel as well. And I'll try to zoom in a little bit more so we can see. We'll go ahead and hit Run Benchmark. Now just like that, the Pixel is finished with a score of 1369 with the single core, and then 3674 in the multi-core. Our tablet, for example, is barely at 63%. Now, we knew that this was going to happen. Obviously, the Pixel 7 Pro has a faster chip than our MediaTek processor in this one. Both are octa-core chips, but obviously the one in the Pixel is better. As you can see there, I'll bring it closer. We are running Android 14, Pixel 7 Pro, and then here is our information. We're running a Pixel Google-made Tensor G2, one processor with 8 cores, ARM-based architecture, of course. Here it tells us we have 4 cores at 1.80 gigahertz, 2 cores at 235, and then 2 at 2.85 gigahertz. With 12 gigabytes of RAM. As you can see there, it gives us more information about our scores. Now, our Pixel is running on 3% of battery, and even though it has a lower percentage battery than the tablet, our tablet is currently at 47%. It was able to achieve these awesome scores. Now, we're going to wait for the tablet to finish. In the meantime, we're going to plug up the Pixel 7 Pro, or plug in, I should say. Alright, and just like that, we are done with the test on our tablet, and to no surprise whatsoever, we have a score of 732 for the single core and 1979 for the multi-core. Obviously scoring way lower than our Pixel with its Tensor G2 chip. Now I'll bring it closer so we can see some more. For example, we are running Android 12, which is promised to get Android 14. It even says so on the website. And then we have 8 cores, 6 cores running at 2 gigahertz, and then 2 cores running at 2.20, and 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now, another thing that I maybe forgot to mention, we do have some pins here at the bottom that you can use with a keyboard. Now, another thing that I wanted to test out, I have this wireless keyboard here that uses one of these transmitters. I wanted to see if I could plug this into the USB-C port and actually use it, so I will test that here on video. I have not tried that yet. I've been wanting to, so it's plugged in. As you can see there, we're going to turn it on and see if it works. Now, to our surprise, it does. As you can see, we have a little icon right there. We actually have a little arrow on the screen. That is amazing. So like I mentioned, if you wanted to take notes, you could actually get you a third-party keyboard like this one from Logitech and use the device. Now, our multi-touch here, actions do work. As you can see here, with 2 fingers we can scroll, and if we select for example, Google Docs, and we select a new document, we could either type on the screen keyboard, which we'll go ahead and minimize. We could also type on this keyboard, as you can see there, wirelessly, so you could have this prop up and be taking notes, for example, in class in college. Pretty cool. To me, that is awesome. Having a USB-C port, it is amazing. I love it on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. It has allowed me to use it for multiple things. I haven't tried this on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. If you want a video to show how many things we can plug into it, let me know in the comments down below. But going back to the tablet here, go ahead and unplug this. Our next benchmark that we have, now I will go ahead and clear out our previous apps also on the tablet, so we don't have anything open in the background. We'll go ahead and hit up 3D benchmark here. So we'll hit 3D benchmark on both devices, and we'll go ahead and start it, I guess, kind of get it both at the same time. Now this one does run on landscape mode, so I will move the pixel down here so you can kind of see it a little better. We'll go ahead and let this one finish, and then we'll analyze the scores afterwards. Right off the bat, as you can see there, we are running currently at some pretty choppy performance, hitting around like 5, 8, 7 FPS, versus on the Pixel we are getting 30 FPS, pretty smooth. Now, like I mentioned, this is pretty good for, you know, some mobile gaming. You're obviously not going to do any PC, you know, quality graphic titles on here, but still pretty good. And just like that, we are done on both devices. On our Pixel 7 Pro, we got a score of 6,577, and we score 88% better than 88% of other Pixel 7 Pro users. For example, our tablet here, we scored 1224. Now, pretty poor, as you can see there. We scored 15% better than similar devices. As you can see there, we can compare it to the Redmi X11 Pro, Redmi 10 Pro. As you can see there, that's pretty much how it compares. We stack up pretty low. Like I mentioned, you're not going to go out there and use this as like a power PC gaming. You can, for the price, you're obviously not going to get that amount of quality in the gaming department, in the graphics, which is why I mainly use it for multimedia. Now closing this out here, we'll move onto our next one and last benchmark, which is GFX Bench. So we'll go ahead and get it started on both devices here. And just like that, we'll go ahead and hit start on both at around the same time. This one I think also runs on landscape, as you can see there. So I'll go ahead and put our pixel about right under it so we can actually see both of them. I'll align the camera here so it's not at a weird angle there, and we'll let it run, and then we'll see the results right after. Unfortunately, the iPhone did die before we could complete the test, and I am currently charging it, which I've lost access to my little clip-on mic that I usually use. Somebody said I should buy a mic. I am working on getting like a wireless one. This one is plugged in. You plug it in via USB-C. It is from a company called Saramonic. It is a pretty good quality mic. It has worked for my YouTube channel. I just got it not too long ago, but do want to upgrade to a Bluetooth one. Let me know in the comments if you have any recommendations for any good wireless mics, and let's continue on with the video. Now we have finished the results, and this benchmark is more of a graphics benchmark. As you can see, we have our FPS for our different tests, and on this one it scored pretty high on some, 1080p at 66 FPS, 4K at around 12. So even the Pixel struggles with some of these tests. As you can see, they're 1440p at 28 FPS, so pretty good, as long as you're not throwing anything above like 1080. So pretty good results on the Pixel, still not the best, not the most powerful chip. Now comparing that to our tablet here, with some of the same tests, as you can see there, we scored, 9 FPS, 2.5 FPS even on some of them. As you can see, this one 2.5 on a 4K, and then at the 1440p we scored 5.9 FPS, and then even on the 1080p, as you can see there, we scored 16 frames per second. Now as you can see there, I'll let you see the rest of the numbers. Obviously not the best in terms of graphical performance. Like I said, we are running a pretty low budget chip tier here, but nevertheless still pretty good. Now with that said, as we can see how our tablet compares to our Pixel, still not the most powerful thing, but as you saw in the gaming performance, we can still play some good games on here like Asphalt 9, and then obviously you can stream Xbox games and all. And with that said, hopefully this has been the information that you guys were looking for. If there's anything else that I can cover, let me know in the comments down below. I'll be down there answering any questions. And with that said, if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. There'll be more videos coming soon. Like the video, like I mentioned, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support in the previous video. I really appreciate everybody who watches these videos, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.